This episode is sponsored by the Twindle Foundation. Learn more at www.twindlefoundation.org.
So many people stay hidden due to fear. Fear of judgment, shame, or even guilt. You are not alone on your journey. Girl, you are not alone. This is a safe place. A place to be heard, a place to be free, a place to be yourself. Bring your girlfriends and let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Listen, I am so excited to hear about your journey. I couldn't wait for you to get settled in and give me all the tea. Like I want to live for you for the moment. So, because I envy your journey just a little bit, because it's not good for us to envy other people. But I'm not really jealous, but I'm excited and so hopeful for everything that's going to happen in your life. Wow. So yes, and yes. I have, after our first podcast, and I was waiting for the transition, and I kept saying, I have to get you back on. I have to get you on here. I have to get you on here just so we can talk about it. Just the whole experience, everything that you felt from transitioning from here in the States to Germany, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it. So first, I'm going to let you start off by just introducing yourself and just tell us, everyone, a little bit about you.
Okay. All right. Hello. Oh my goodness. So excited to be here. And thank you for inviting me. My name is Sonya Lewis. I am the big hug lady.
Love your energy.
Oh my goodness. I am a certified life coach and just on a journey to do exactly what God created me to do. Walking in my purpose, but definitely just trying to hear him ever so keenly, that I move as he would have me to move. And and here I am.
Yes. You know what? It's so funny that you said that. Because this morning I got up. I've been having some issues with sleeping, and I think it's like I got up about 4:00. Now I went to bed about 1:00, and I woke up at 4, and I'm just like, God, what in the world? And I said, okay, God, maybe God wants to speak. And I was like, okay, God, what is it that you want to share with me? And so I'm all over the place. I'm doing all kinds of stuff because I'm wide open. And I got a message from someone on Facebook, and we were just talking about God, and she just shared that she no longer wanted to live, by what other people thought about her or the likes, that type of stuff. And I was just thinking, I'm in a place in my life where I only want to live for God. I only want to do whatever it is that God wants me to do. I remember, and I say this a lot, that my grandparents taught us that we were on borrowed time. We don't know the minute, know the hour, know the day when it's going to be over for us. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to focus more on living my life the way that God created it. And that takes a lot of discovery and correction. And so that when you said that, it's just like, walking with purpose or living for purpose, that takes a lot of work. And it's just like, I want to be so focused on that, but not to a place where I'm obsessed with it, but to a point where, I'm doing whatever it is that I hear the Lord speaking to me.
Yeah. On that intentional journey.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And that took me, some time to get to, but it was only when I became intentional about my discovery of who I was and why I was created that I really, like those glimpses became more colorful, Yeah. And I heard the go here, go there, reach out to this person, say yes to this, say no to that, and a nudge to create Big Hug Lady, and which then turned into Big Hug Conversations, where I would have amazing dialogue and conversations with individuals who are doing beautiful things in this earth, such as you. I had you on, and are helping to heal the land and helping to cultivate love, helping to cultivate healing in the earth in whatever way that he has given them to do. And that is all to just encourage other individuals to, one, to ask themselves, well, why was I created? You know, what is my purpose? I see them doing their thing, you know, what's mine? But then also to encourage those individuals who are in a place of hurt, loneliness, depression, and just need encouragement.
Yes.
To need to know that, hey, I'm not in this by myself. I'm not alone. There are other people who are going through the same thing, and dang, if they can do it, you know, I can too. So,
yeah, I always look at my life and my journey. I constantly remind myself that I'm a small piece of something big, and I'm in position where when God sends me out into the earth, that someone is in need of whatever it is that I have. So that's why I feel like it's so vital. It's imperative that I'm intentional about what I'm doing and moving wherever God leads me, because someone's waiting to move forward when I arrive. You know, I have something for them. And I always go back to, in my life, I always felt like every step that I made, there was always someone somewhere waiting for me to give me the tools that I need to make it to that next level. And now I feel like now I'm that person who's carrying a torch, and I need to pass it along to someone else because I may be carrying something that they need. So it's so important for me to be intentional and to just follow the steps that God has ordered for me. Like there's no time to quit. That's how I'm in that go mode. Like, okay, I've lived this way for X amount of time. Now it's time for me to do whatever it is that God has planned for my life.
Yeah. And you know what? That is a hard place, honestly, to embrace oftentimes, because it takes us to be, we talked about intentional, but walk in our authentic place, right? To be our most authentic self. And oftentimes we are not there, right? Because we're worried about what other people are going to say, how they're going to react to what we show them. And that keeps us hidden. You know, it keeps us in this place of, oh my gosh, it's pride really that keeps us there, because we're worried about, it's about us and not about him. But oh my gosh, when we get courageous, and he is the one who's going to offer us, you know, that courage to move through it. So it is really important to have a relationship and be intimate in that relationship with the one who created us and who placed purpose in us in the first place. Without it, I mean, yeah, you might be moving, you might be doing some things, you might look like you're doing a daggone thing, but you know, I mean, when you're connected with the one who put it in you to do the daggone thing,
yes,
the light. Oh, yeah. Then you're doing something. So I encourage individuals to step outside of themselves, step outside of fear. Don't worry about what anybody else is going to say or think or even how they treat you, afterwards, because there is something greater for you. Is it a lonely journey? Indeed it is.
Yes, it is.
Because those individuals that you thought were your like ride or die, out here encouraging one another. And but when you take a different route, not everybody wants to go with you.
But and not everyone is supposed to go. A lot of times we think that we need all of these people. We need all these things, and we don't. The only thing that we need is Christ. And when you said that, it took me back to the story of Gideon. When God was raising him up, and he was trying to take 30,000. Was it 30,000? No, it was. I think he ended up with a small amount, but he was trying to take thousands of people, and I want to say it's 30,000. And God was like, no. Yeah, you only need like 300 soldiers. That is all that you need for this trip, And so the moral of it is that you don't need any of that. You only need who God has positioned for you. Quit taking this baggage to or other people places that they don't belong. Unpack the baggage and just go. You need to be lightweighted when God calls. You don't need to be carrying all the stuff. He has everything equipped inside of you to fulfill your journey for your purpose.
Oh my gosh, that part right there, that was another thing, that I had to learn, because on my journey for a purpose, and I was looking out there, I was, this person doing that. Yeah. And I would truly believe, like, just so often that's where our eyesight is, right? I mean, and it's only natural because we have eyes, to see. Right. We're looking at other individuals and seeing what they're doing and, being encouraged by it and inspired by it. And we just take different pieces of other individuals and try to make our own. Mm-hmm. But it's already inside of us. Everything that, as you said, we are to do, it's already in us, And that was a part of my journey, because I was like, well, what am I supposed to be doing? What is my thing? And the thing is the hug, but I was like, how in the world is a hug supposed to be a purpose? How? And oh my gosh, yes. But it was like, well, how, do I do this? Yes, we know about the physical hug, but how am I supposed to make that into this greater thing that you're talking about, And he would just nudge me here and there. He would just reveal certain things. Okay.
I think the biggest part is that in our heads, we feel like we need to know how. And my thing is, if God has everything predestined in our lives, so everything's there, like, he knows exactly how this thing is going to be.
Yes,
the only thing that we have to do is just show up. And a lot of times we feel like we need to know, especially me. I need to know, or well, I thought it should go this way. And so I've had times where, and I don't know if I've shared this on the podcast before or not, but I'm going to share it anyway. I remember I was going to court, and I was getting dressed, and the Holy Spirit said to me, "You're going to be late." I said, "I'm not going to be late. I'm not going to be late because I'm 2 hours ahead, and I'm going to leave home an hour ahead so that I'm not late." I get in my car and I get on 85, which is only like 2 minutes from my house, and there's an accident and the traffic is at a standstill. And I was like, "You got to be kidding me." And so a lot of times when we hear things from the Holy Spirit, the Christian in us, or if we want to rebuke things in the name of Jesus, because we feel like we know how things should go. And that's not it. The only thing that you have to do is just show up and allow God to lead, to do what it is, because we don't know the outcome. And I was actually late. I was late, and I was so upset. I was so mad at God. I was so mad at God. And when I got there, I was late, and everything just kind of fell apart in my eyes. Everything fell apart. And what happened was it did. And I came home and I was so angry. I was so angry at God. And I'm going to just go ahead and tell this story to get the whole realness of it. I was so angry with God I came home and I got undressed and I was going to take a nap because when I'm frustrated and mad, I know that I need to pause. I need to settle down so that I can hear from the Holy Spirit. And I wasn't feeling that at all. And my spirit kept singing, "My God is awesome. He will." And I was just like, I ain't trying to hear that right now. I mean, I'm being honest now. I'm being honest. I was so mad because I thought that the outcome should have been different. And I thought that it was going to cause me more trouble because I was late. And it did. And so so again, my spirit started nudging again, saying, "My God is awesome." And I'm not singing. Like I already told you, this is me talking, the flesh talking to the spirit. I'm not singing. All right. I'm not singing. And so the Holy Spirit kept singing again. And I was just like, next thing you know, listen, I ain't had no choice like to submit to that. Because at this point, the flesh is arguing with the spirit. They're going back and forth. And then finally the flesh submits. And then here goes, I'm singing, I'm crying, I'm letting God know that I'm mad. And then I finally just go to sleep. I took my nap because at that point I knew that. And the thing is that I think that God was just calming me down. And then allowing me to see it, because God knows the outcome of everything. It's just that we have to trust Him enough to realize that it's out of our control. No matter what happens, if it goes your way or if it doesn't, we have to trust God enough to know that He is going to bring us to the right outcome. Like He's always going to have our back. He's always going to have our make the best decision for us, even when it looks wrong. And I remember one time the Holy Spirit told me, it's not what it looks like on paper. And I didn't understand that at one point in time, but I do now, because a lot of things that we see with our natural eyes, it's not what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? We see that things are out of control or things are bad or the economy is this way. But God would never leave us in a situation like that. God would never just allow things to happen in our lives without Him having the perfect outcome for it, without Him coming into the rescue, without Him saving us, or without Him providing what we need in this season.
Yes, absolutely. And, it all boils down to trust, right? Faith. Mm-hmm. If I'm the one that's controlling the situation, if I have to have it, or I got to see it, or if it's not this way. So maybe not, and I'm doing all of this stuff, that the mind does, then I do need to back up and ask some questions. Why am I doubting? Why am I all over the place? When He is not the author of confusion, of peace. So, Yep.
It takes me back to just showing up and trusting God no matter what.
The yes. All He wants is a yes.
Girl,
a yes.
Heavy now. I'm just like, God, did I really say yes? Like I always say that I'm learning, wanting to trust God with my eyes closed, but unfortunately, sometimes I open my eyes. But the thing is that is like every time I say that statement, it's the hardest thing that I've ever had to do, but it takes a lot of willingness and discipline, and that is so hard because a lot of times I had to. And still am humble myself and just sit still and just know that whatever it is I'm facing, God is facing this for me. Like God is doing it. It's all in His control. And He did not allow anything that to happen to me. You know what I'm saying? He got it under control. And it reminds me of that song we used to sing when we were kids. He's got the whole world in His hand. I don't want to be the person who say things and not believe it when tough time comes, with those bad situations. I want to be able to look to God no matter what the situation looks like, or no matter how hurt that I am in my flesh, because that's always always the one that becomes hurt in the flesh, and be like, ugly towards people or situation, knowing that God controls all of this. So you move forward and let it go,
Yeah. Amen to all of that. Oh my gosh. That whole yes is hard. Indeed. Okay. So I'll share.
I'm ready. I'm sitting up in my seat. I'm ready.
My most recent journey. So here I was, received a notice from the landlord saying that he's selling his home. And basically, it was about 30 days we had to be out. And in the process of, okay, let's look here, look there, trying to find another place to live, and then being in the the whole school district, all of that stuff, those little details. He was doing another thing on top of it, and concerning my job, and I was like in a struggle because I had been on my job for 20 years. And, I was like, I'm almost close to retirement or whatever, and he's like, put in your 2 weeks and give yourself away, your stuff, all this stuff that you have accumulated, give it away and go. And I was like,
what?
Right. What do you mean? Okay, so I got questions.
Well, God, right? What do you mean give myself away?
Right. And the stuff, it was like, though I say it was just stuff, but as I was going through it, it was like, oh, I probably should hold on to this one. I should probably hold on to that, whatever. And so you think it's easy just to give it away, but, again, you start looking at certain things that have sentimental value, to you. But, and really, it's the memory, right? So I already have it with me anyway. I don't even need the tangible thing. But to say, leave my job without having another one to go to, I'm like, I told him, then I wouldn't even tell my kids to do that. So hold on. Wow. It again was a struggle. And then the go. Well, go where? Where am I? Where am I going? What's that? I want some details, something. But in all of those instances, there were no clear answers other than do this and wait for the next assignment, wait for the next instruction. And so I had to get in a place of quiet to truly hear, because that didn't make sense to me, Yeah, that didn't make sense, because that was my livelihood. I'm like, I got my retirement or whatever. Then we can go and play. But his thing was, if you take a look back, haven't I had you all this time?
Right.
And then when I focused on the retirement part, he was like, well, okay, with two things. Who said you're going to last that long? Right. And it was like, oh, well, you're right. Because my mind was going on my provision, right, and not his provision. That's what I was focusing on. If I have this, then I can do, that. But it was, okay, so the one was who said you would last that long. And then in our dialogue, he said, why would you wait so long for the thing that I have for you? This super duper thing that you're always encouraging others, to walk in. You all pushing other individuals, to do the daggone thing.
And I'm going to start pushing people. I'm going to have to start pushing people.
Right. And trusting, he's like, you use these words. This is, gorgeous or whatever. And he's going to do this and he's going to do that. But he was like, yeah, you too. You too. But in order to get there, you got to do something. You got to let go of the
those things you're holding on to. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Believing that it's you who is keeping you, believing that it's you who is, making way. And though I trusted him, he was me, okay, but we can do a little more, in the trusting. We can go a little further. We can go a little deeper. And oh my gosh. So even down to the turning in my paperwork, right? The day that I turned my letter of resignation in, my boss ended up leaving early. And I was like, dang, I ain't even had a conversation with him. So I ended up doing the letter anyway, right? And then I put it on his desk and I left, once I left work that evening. Well, I know that I normally get in there before he does. So overnight, I'm thinking, okay, if you say it, if I did something wrong and I wasn't supposed to, do that and I moved too quick, whatever, I still have time to go in there and grab that letter and all of that. And that morning I got up and headed to work. The strangest thing, okay, so it was this card that I previously had. And for some reason, there was one, there, but this particular time, it caught my eye. Any other time, I see that same type of car out and about. But I looked over and I'm driving and I'm like, it's in the parking lot, so it's going fairly slow. But I looked over and I was like, ooh, that looked like my car. And I'm steady like this. And he said, don't look back. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then what he showed me or shared with me was like, oh my gosh, okay. And so as I'm driving, I didn't get to the stop sign and someone sent me a text saying, embrace it. And I was like, oh my gosh, Lord. So when I went into work, I left it on, the desk. I didn't go. It was like, that was my release, and when I embraced that thing, oh my gosh, that night I slept like a baby.
Yes.
Woke up, blood pressure was perfect and everything.
Yes.
But it was like the most peaceful thing. And I'm like, it was a reminder that you have had me all this time, going back to some rough and heavy weighted instances in my life where I just thought it ain't gonna get better. How could it ever get better? It's gonna be worse or it's over, type thing. And yet he always worked things out. He just brought me back to that place. So anyway, in reference to like where I was going, my job gave me this going away party thing. And they were like, well, what's going on, Sonya? You leaving, what? And the only thing that I could come up with, honestly, to share with other individuals, even for myself, to wrap my mind around what he had told me to do and what I was saying yes to, was Abraham. When he told him to get your stuff and go.
Yes.
You go to a whole nother country. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's going to take place. You don't know, you don't know anything, but just go and trust me that I got you, and that was all that I could use to help me move further. And it has kept me. But this mind here, right, will try to keep you in a place of
doubt,
of fear. And, yes, absolutely. Take you backward and
questioning God.
Yeah. Because it was probably about 30 days after I got here to Germany. It was about 30 days after that was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Did I really quit my job? You know, like what did I do? But right then and there, you know, right after that mindset, you know, craziness took place, a peace, you know, came over. And just to hear him say, yeah, you did it. And thank you, you know, for your yes. I got you. And so I am just walking in every day. It is like, okay, what we doing? You know?
Yeah.
It is just a trust, a faith walk, honestly. And yes, there are times where I get a little nervous, but it does not outweigh the joy, that super duper gorgeous that I now feel for myself. And, you know, I know it's going to be greater because another thing that I recognize, as you said before, that the thing that we're doing, the thing that we say yes to is not about us. No. It's about who are watching, right? And what he is doing through us in order to encourage another person, in order to even draw another person, you know, toward him. And so even those individuals on my job that I was like, you know, that worked in the county that came to say goodbye, I was surprised at some individuals who came because I was like, I didn't even know you knew who I was, wow. You know. But to know that because of those, you know, those conversations, because of that, oh no, he's doing a great thing, and he is moving and opening the eyes of other individuals and speaking to them about him. You know, not about what Sonya did, but about him and
what God is doing. Exactly. I've been waiting to interject into this whole statement. I was holding on and letting you finish because you think about it when you stop and you think about it, you're like, what? That's so crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't just up and leave. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you said, you're close to retirement and you're giving away everything and sacrificing. But those are the things, you know what I'm saying, that God, all he wants is that when we release from our hands, it opens our hands up so that we're not only releasing, but we're also receiving. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the thing is that someone looks at your life, or someone's going to hear the story, and they're going to think that, one, man, that's so crazy. She's living on the edge. I wish that I could be that bold. I wish that I had that type of faith. Then you'll have somebody says, that's a confirmation for me because I've been hearing from God, but I was too afraid to move, or I've been wanting to do this, but I hadn't moved yet, or I've been, you know what I'm saying, waiting to get that confirmation from God. So it's so many different ways that it play, but it all goes back to God because somebody may have never seen this done before. Someone may have never seen that type of faith before. And someone just might need that push to know that it's your time to go forward into your next season. And then somebody be like, oh, yes, cheering her on because they've always wanted to do that. And that would be me. There's a lot of things that I've always wanted to just up and just do. But God hadn't told me to do those things yet now. But when he does give that, you know, I'm on it. But when you told me you were leaving, I was so excited, really excited, because I knew that whatever it is that God was calling me to do, I knew that this was going to be so big. But I also knew that, you know what I'm saying, we don't know what that process is going to look like. You know what I'm saying? It could be a level of stretching. It could be a level of persecution, a level of building your character, building your faith, you know, and so a season of all of those things. But the only thing we do know is that God is with you. And you know what I'm saying? And that you had to trust him on that he's taking you on the journey. You had to trust him on that next level. And the other thing I was thinking about when you were speaking was, I remember, this was, almost maybe 13, almost 15 years ago. I was going for a walk, and I remember hearing the Holy Spirit say to me, what you do for others, God is going to allow someone else to do for you. And I was like, So I was, and I just, I knew what I was doing. I was going for a walk, and I saw an elderly lady going to dump her trash in the trash can. At that point, it was a little bit further down. And I said to her, hey, man, I'll take your trash out. She was older. She didn't need to be walking and take it. I was going that direction, so I didn't mind, grabbing her bag. And the very next day, I'm in the same routine, walk out my door, I'm taking my trash. And here comes this guy with the pickup truck. And he said, hey, throw your bag on the back of my truck. I'll take out yours. And I started laughing. In that, I started laughing because I had just heard what God said, and it was the perfect example. So while you're out here cheering on people and pushing them into their purpose and helping them to discover themselves, here it is your turn. God is changing your life and allowing others to push you into. So it's just like what we give, we receive back. And when we let go from what's we're holding in our hands, we let go, but we free ourselves up to receive more. So never be afraid to let go of anything, because at the time that you had, I'm about to retire, God can retire you in one day and multiply whatever it is that you walk away from. Yeah. And so everything that you sold is, I feel like this, even that's not say that God even will ever leave us out here by ourselves. And I feel like sometimes we lose things in life, right? We're like, oh man, I lost this. Like you hear people say, I lost my house, or I lost this opportunity, or I lost this. Then God got this thing mapped out. We never lose. And I had to get to a place where I had to start to understand this. We don't lose anything. Everything is a seed. And if something is taken from us, it's a seed sown that would come right back around to us and multiply. It would be even greater than whatever it is that so when we look, because a lot of times people say, I lost so much, but God gave me back double. Because that was a seed that you let go out of your hand. The moment you release it, it's going to come back to you at a certain time in your life. Don't ever be afraid to let go.
Can I tell you? Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is confirmation as well. Mm-hmm. So we talked about the, giving and the receiving. So I have always been a person. I mean, I give you the clothes off my back. I've given people, somebody say, oh, I love, that bracelet or whatever. Yeah, here you go, But I have struggled with receiving. Mm. I mean, that part right there, it was just like, not that to me, it wasn't like a pride thing. It was just like, oh no, I'm good, or, the Lord will provide, I went through that whole little, season too. And it's like, yeah, he is providing through them.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yes. But so even as, we have this conversation in reference to the receiving, he is teaching me how to receive. He is teaching me, oh my gosh, to let somebody help me, let somebody bless me, let somebody, let somebody, and that's the place that I'm in right now. And, it's beautiful. You just put a spotlight on it. You just reminded me, of that place of me struggling, and me thinking also that I wasn't struggling as much as I used to. I thought I had passed that, but no, there's something greater that he is bringing forth. And oh my gosh, when I really, really let go, when I really, really say, okay, can you help me? I had to laugh at that one. Oh my God. He was like, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
When I can say, can you help me? Instead of trying to be the helper. That's going to be, the super duper thing.
The season of faith that I'm in, and this is a new level of trust for me, because I see like in my workspace, like when I put a lot of time and effort, and sometimes I see things fall apart, and I'm like, God, but why? Not understanding. And sometimes I find myself upset or angry at the outcome of things, and with people too, because I'm really big on don't waste my time, and a lot of times when we don't understand the bigger picture of things, we only see what we can see, and I'm not a selfish person. I try to be selfless, but sometimes when it comes to work, and I'm doing this because I know that I need an outcome. You know what I'm saying? You're working towards something. So if I put in 30 days, 60 days, a whole year worth of work, then you expect something, the fruits of your labor, for everything to manifest. And sometimes it doesn't go in that direction. And I find myself angry at people, like, don't waste my time, or you could have done this differently or whatever, especially if you try to map things out so it works for people. But then I had to come to a place where I had to start being a little bit more understanding, because let's say that you and I were working together and something just didn't work out. And I'm like, God, why did this happen? Well, this person just wasted my time and blah, blah, blah. And I'm expecting this because I have to provide for myself or whatever else of obligations that I have. And those things, and God was looking like, first of all, I'm your provider. I have to provide for you. And those obligations I sent you to do. And so that means that you have to trust that I'm going to provide for you and I'm going to fulfill those obligations. You're not here on your own. You're on my terms. And so I'm like, okay, God. And so it makes me stop and think, I need to allow some grace. Number two is I need to forgive the situation or whatever, even though I am upset about it and it didn't go the way that I expected it to. It's okay for me to talk to God about what happened, how I felt about it, and how I felt that He left me in the situation. These are my feelings, and God knows that. And so I'm at a place where I'm able to unpack those things. But at the same time, I shouldn't be upset or angry about, and I try not to be with people because of the behavior, how things turn out, because the first person that you're going to blame is the other person, saying, oh, they've wasted my time. But the thing is that you never know what's going on or what God has going on their side. And so He may be shaking things up. My trust should never be in people to fulfill an outcome. It should be in God to fulfill that outcome. And so not to say, oh, I should be mad at God. I just need to trust God that He will fulfill the outcome that I need so that I can move forward. And so it's like it's like a new level of trust for me, because now just like I said, God, I'm going to trust you with my eyes closed. So now I have to trust God that He's going to fulfill those promises. I have to trust that all I have to do is show up and that God is going to bring me to wherever it is that I need to be. And I have to trust that if things doesn't go as planned or as I think it should, I still have to trust and know that God is going to fulfill whatever His promises to me, and He's going to take care of everything that I need. He said, I'm Jehovah Jireh. You're a provider. And I have to rely on Him to provide everything that I need. And sometimes, things it doesn't pan out the way that you hope to, but God always has a plan in place. And you just have to trust that He's going to get you from A to Z. And no matter how much you shift on that plan, whatever, it might not go as you think that it should, but you have to believe that God is going to get you to wherever it is. And so that's where I am in my faith walk. And so sometimes it doesn't turn out the way that I think that it should, but it turns out the way that God intends for it to turn out. So I can't be mad at anybody, but myself, because I'm the one that's supposed to trust God. I'm the one that's supposed to stand on His word. I'm the one that's believing in Him, and so I'm just trying to shift myself where I could just not go through, to eliminate that whole process of being upset, and going through all that. Like, why are you going through all that? You already know God's going to show up. You know God's going to do this. You know God's going to do this. You know God got you. Like, and so it's like that constant reminder. But I feel like I'm finally getting to a place where I'm a little bit more planted. Like I'm not as shaken, moving with that. It's kind of like, but there was a story I was going to give an example for, but that's okay. But it's almost just like, becoming planted and not easily moved when things start.
One thing I did want to share was in reference to this whole expectation that we have about our journey and moving with God. I mean, I think we all, for some reason, see things as going ever so smoothly, right? Our thought is, okay, do this, do that, it's going to be also grand or whatever, smooth and no issue. But if that were the case, right? I mean, like, where's the teaching in that? When I say that, it's, of course, there has to be, I'm going to say like chaos. It's got to be disruption. Because in the disruption, like, we learn to lean in on him even more so. I think when things are just ever so smoothly as we move and we act and we make decisions and stuff, that becomes, creates a place of, I did it, self-reliance. But like, he always, we can go into the Bible and see, like, his MO is to disrupt, that is just,
I got a word for you. Go, keep going.
Just to disrupt. And in that, he like teaches to trust. And it's like, if we could let go and like see that, oh my gosh, I don't think the stress would be there. And I have to, for myself, I've been down that road, it's like, oh my gosh, you said that, that you would do this and you would do that or whatever. And cause I'm gonna do what he said, give it back to him. You said, give your word, back to you. And so, but that chaos thing, I mean, that's his MO. And if we learn to trust in the midst of it all, oh my gosh. And that's what I am learning to do, because that whole disruption of what you mean, leave my job and go. I gotta look, where am I gonna go? Yeah. And it was in the me moving and trusting. Then I got a phone call, from my son, who is stationed here. He and his family. And I hadn't told him anything about what was going on with me, because I didn't want him to, worry or what have you. But he found out, and he was like, how about you come here so you can figure out whatever. But it's like, God has already provided for us, like he already had that in mind. God already knew that was going to take place. He knew that a yes was going to come from over here, or movement, a door was going to be, that I had no idea, because I didn't have a conversation, with them. So, I think that's part of the trusting thing, but that also goes back to me and my, issue of receiving, right, into a place, regardless of who it is, whether I know them or don't. That's part of my journey of being able to breathe in the receiving. And it has been a process for me. It has been and when someone wants to do something for me not try to now turn around and, okay, what can I do to say thank you? Or what can I do to, you know what I'm saying? Like basically give it back because I struggle with the receiving. But it's little things like that. And being here, he's just shown me so much about, just what he needs done in the kingdom, and as I move and operate in a place of faith and a place of trust, it is indescribable what he has been proving, to me. And that's all he is doing, proving himself to me. But it's been beautiful. And I also wanted to share with whomever was thinking that, you know what, this is confirmation for me to do. He has taken care of my bills. Not that anybody else has done it. I had what I needed to pay my bill and help other people and still help other people. So it's like, I'm telling you, he blows my mind each and every time. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But go ahead.
Earlier when I was talking about, just being planted without, wavering in faith. And, that's so hard sometimes, because we want to have that faith, we want to have that faith, but sometimes, things just come and it shakes us a little bit and we're like, okay, God, what in the world? And I remember I was reading in my Bible, and it's in Matthew, where Peter asked Jesus to walk on water, right? So I'm reading this, and when I read my Bible, I always end up having a very good time with the Holy Spirit. There's a lot of jokes in there. And so, we just have that kind of relationship. And so, Peter asked God to walk on, Jesus to walk on one. He's like, come on, just come on. And so, Peter goes, and then when the wind blows and when things start to get a little bit rough, then he became afraid. And so a lot of people in the Bible, it talks about his faith. So while I was reading that, I hear the Holy Spirit said, but I am the water. And so, and God was saying that he was creating the shaking as Peter was, because Peter asked God to come. Jesus was like, yeah, come on, or whatever. So it was like, okay, I got this. Yes. But as he continued to move forward, things started to shake up for him. And so it's just, God is like, are you going to trust me to know to move? Come on and move forward. I would never send for you or say, yes, it's okay, if I wasn't going to get you here. And so I was just like, okay, when God said, I am the shaking, and I am the shaking in the water. And I was like, oh yeah, because everything that happens in our life, nothing that happens, God didn't allow. Satan can never move without permission. And the Bible teaches us that he has to ask permission for the things that he disrupts, the things that he brings upon us. Look at the story of Job or whatever. Right. Look at the story of Job or whatever. Satan had to get permission before he had to. And the thing is, and this is what I've been learning, and this is something the Holy Spirit and I shared on yesterday, that there's an expiration for every season. There's an expiration for everything that comes upon us. All we have to do is continue to go in faith and trust God, and those things will perish at some point in time.
That whole word through, right? Meaning you ain't gonna be there forever. It's a beginning and an end, for you to go.
But here's the thing, right? Okay, so here's the other part is Satan knows his time expires in this season and period. You know what I'm saying? Yes. The only thing is that we need to know that his time is going to expire. Okay, how much more time do you got to? Like, how much longer you think you're going to do this? Let me give you a little word, since I already know. So that's the thing. That's the faith right there. We know that there's a time and there's a time for, what is it? It's that saying. There's a time for every season. I think that's what it says. Anyway, but the season has to end. Like the season,
right?
Hey, the season. We get 4 seasons here, and we go through every last one of them. So we know that there's going to be an expiration of the season. We know that whatever season that we're in, it's going to expire, and we move forward into a different.
Absolutely. And then, you know what, as you said that, right, the season comes back. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yes, it expired, right? But new life, right, comes, all of that. And if we get to that place of, I truly believe that's part of the trust as well. The stuff that we endure, keep enduring, is all just to get us to a place of not freaking out or throwing our hands up when something does come. So like he gets me through this one issue, or it seems like, chaos is all around. We get through it. With flying colors, he doing the daggone thing. So when the next one comes, I'm not supposed to be as shaken. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because already proven in the last one. And so I truly believe that all of those things that happen, all of the chaos, all of the issues that continue to come up in our life, it is to teach us about faith, but strengthen us. Strengthen our faith, strengthen that trust in Him. That I know you got it. I ain't even gonna trip, right? Because you got me. You had me the last time. And
it produces something else.
Oh my gosh, yes, that stamina, that
endurance,
perseverance. Oh my, and the peace that surpasses all understanding in the midst of it, and as He's doing that for us, He is creating a light, that draws, so that other people are watching like, well, dang, I didn't see what they are going through, whatever. How in the world they do that? But and they handled that real well. How did they do that? But it is all the directing back to Him, and who He is and how He will do if we just trust Him. But He is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. So beautiful.
When you were saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
When you were saying that the seasons come back around again, it reminded me, I love flowers. I love flowers, and I love plant flowers. And sometimes this year, this was amazing because I planted some flowers 3-4 years ago, and the sun scorched them and they died and they didn't come back. Like they just died. But I left them there. And 2 years ago they came back, but it didn't bloom, right? This year it came back and it multiplied. And then it bloomed. And I was just like, those flowers went through different seasons. But the thing is, like, just like you said, when it comes back around, you grow, you manifest, you multiply, you know what I'm saying? You become so much more. Your faith has become deeply rooted, and it expands. And that's exactly what happens in those seasons. There's a season for everything. And sometimes we go through seasons, but in those seasons we're growing. Like, we have to stay the course. Sometimes it doesn't look like what we think, saying, oh, I thought my flowers were going to come back, but they didn't this year. Oh my gosh, my flowers came back this year. I thought they were dead, They were resurrected. But it happens. But it happens. We see this. Like, sometimes I have flowers that I plant them all at the same time. Some of them are still small, and some of them are already big, larger, already expanded, bloomed, and it's just like wow. Like some flowers, I guess they get what they need to get, or maybe that's all that it was intended to be. And you know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you look at people, some people may grow and expand, multiple, you know what I'm saying, may do something big in the earth, and sometimes some people or maybe just aren't called for that, and maybe they're just supposed to be at a certain stage or whatever like that, you know, or maybe they just didn't get the yes, I don't know, but maybe that's just what God has called them to do. Maybe that's, you know what I'm saying, some people, you know, go big and or blossom or expand, and sometimes like a flower, and sometimes some people just maybe supposed to be a small flower, and some are intended to be a big flower. Because when you purchase flowers, it tells you how big it may get. It tells you how big it would get, and also how wide that it would get, you know? So sometimes some people are just supposed to blossom bigger than others.
Right. That's it.
Well, Sonya. Oh, go ahead. Were you about to say
and as you said that, some people are supposed to blossom bigger than others. Okay, so I was going to say,
falling in the earth may be larger than some.
And so I was going to agree to that, but then it was like, is it like bigger, or is it, I mean, like it's as great as the other?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and going back to the season, it's as great as the others. Because I don't know if I would say one's calling is greater than the other, but you know,
and to the seeds. And I don't want to say like I used to go on term when I said bigger, because you don't want to think that, oh, this person's bigger than me. That's the wrong way to look at it. And I was looking at it in terms of like a flower, like some are smaller and some will expand and become multiply a lot more. But then you go back to the seed of the sowers, and remember, some of them seed didn't take root. Some of the seeds,
yeah.
You know, or even when God gave them seed to multiply, what happened? One person didn't do anything with theirs, and God gave the next one, and He gave that person more. The next one, He made this, and God gave that person even more. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, I mean, I don't want to say that they were bigger than the other ones, but they got double. I mean, God gave them more responsibility or more than others. So, you know, I'm not
because of the yes.
Yes, I'm not going to say bigger. I'm going to take that bigger and just say that God may place a little bit more on some people than He does on others. Not to say that He does love you less or anything like that. Put that out there before someone takes that the wrong way. But sometimes some people may have a little bit more than others, as far as their gift and whatever God is using them for.
Yes, I think it goes back to what the scripture that you used. I think it goes back to the yes, you know, who said yes, and how big was the yes? You know, like how wide open was the yes, and the faith is what I'm talking about. And the greater the faith, I do believe the greater the bloom. You know.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, this journey that I think back to as a child, I could never see myself right where I am now. Never. I think back to that time, and I'm so grateful that He saw me. Oh my gosh. And His love kept me. Even in my crazy disobedience, like He saw me and was like rooting for me, you know? And until I got, girl, come on, just keep moving. It is amazing, and it is mind blowing, and such a gift that we all have the opportunity to have,
Yeah.
And I just pray that we all receive it. I really do.
Yeah.
And I understand the whole, I'm going to say, trick of the enemy to make God out to be a liar. I understand that, and will use our life circumstances in order to discourage us.
Yeah. Deceive us, make us think that God is not with you, or why did God leave you? You know what I'm saying? Well, if he's God, the God that he said that he, well, why didn't he do this?
Yeah. It is such a trick of the enemy. But if we could just be steadfast, in what we believe, regardless of what stuff look like. Oh my gosh, on the other end, of that, it is so beautiful. And the purpose that he has in us, that he placed within us way before he even set time into motion. It's like they're waiting to be embraced, and oftentimes it is a quiet call, a quiet nudge, but just be intentional about the journey of who we are, your why, oh my gosh, and intentional about your relationship with the one who placed that in you. We do that, oh my gosh, like your life changes. My life has changed. And I remember how I used to think. And oh Lord. Yeah. So believe him. When he tells you who he is, believe him.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think the biggest part for me is there's a lot of things, like especially the way that in the very beginning, the way that I trusted God, or the way that I saw God, was just learned behavior. Everything was learned from other people growing up in church, and that's what you get from your parents or your grandparents. And now I'm at a place where I want to know God for myself. Now there's some things that I do hold on to that I find to be correct. And there's some things that it's like, I think I'm going to trust God on a different level than that. Or I'm going to trust God because I want to see him a different way. I want to see things manifested the way that the word says that it could be. I want to see more of God. I know that there's more. I want to get to that place. And so for me, I don't know how I got to this point in my life, but I'm out on this journey just wanting to know more about God and wanting to trust him on a totally different level. And that's big for me. That's big for me. And I keep pressing in, that I can receive God on that level that I'm looking for. And so, yeah, that's the biggest part for me. It's just kind of like, not to say I'm just starting over, but just letting go of some old ways or old habits or old mindset, old ways of thinking, and allowing God to create something new in me, to see God from a different perspective, to see God for myself, because God, a lot of times you hear people say, well, God wouldn't do this, so you need to do, and then I see God doing things, something different. I'm like, hold on a second, God, so whatever I trust God to do, then like I like to be a little crazy with my stuff. And so I'm going to have some crazy faith. I want to believe something that I never thought that could happen for me, but I know that God can make this happen. Like he could provide those things. So I'm just like, okay, God, you know what? I believe that this is for me. I believe that this can happen. And so, of course, I'm going to write it on my vision board, and I'm just going to trust God and believe that this is it, that he's going to allow it to happen.
Yeah. Sis, let me tell you, that journey right there and the whole, what we grew up in, and I hesitate a little bit as far as the growing up in church, because I didn't grow up in church, but that portion, the religious, the traditions, I too got to a place where I was just like, I am showing up, where I was taught you are. And I'm like, there's got to be more to you than this. Right. It's gotta be. And if it's not, I'm done. Right? I'm done, because I'm trying to grab hold of you in this, through, I'm just gonna say religion. And I'm coming up short. I'm coming up empty. I'm coming up dry. And when I cried out and was like, again, it's got to be more to you. And if it's not, if this is it, I'm done. He was like, okay, are you ready? And he did a detox. This is the thing that I call it. He did a detox from church. He did a detox in me from habit. He did this whole thing. And trust me, it was hard, because it was like, are we supposed to be doing this? And this is what I'm supposed to be doing? So why are you, pulling me away from those things? But when I stepped back, and when I wasn't so worried about what other people thought in the stepping back, oh my gosh, he revealed so much of who he was. He was like, we're going to go back to the beginning. First of all, back to the beginning of when you and I first met, like that whole passion, that whole place of trust. And let's go back to the beginning of the word. And when he took me back to the beginning, stuff that I had learned, right, in church, as a licensed minister, teaching and all of that, and to go back. And part of the instruction was, you go back and you read as if this was the first time reading. You unlearn all that stuff that you thought you knew, you thought was right. And we're going to start from the beginning. And in doing so, I found that the stuff that we were doing, when I say we, talking about religion, all I know is why that's all I can talk about is Baptist. But the stuff that was being done in church and what we were being taught, and it contradicted what was in the Bible. And I know somebody gonna get mad,
but that's okay.
Hey, it's the truth.
Yeah.
It is the truth. It really is the truth. And when he showed me that, and it was like, the decision is yours. If you choose to go back to that, that's your decision. But this is who I am. And, if you're ready for the journey, then let's go. And let me tell you, when I decided to embrace him and to embrace his truth and walk away from the traditions and the religiousness and everything, as you said, there's some stuff, I ain't gonna say it's all total, lie, whatever. But when I embraced everything that he is, Lord, it was like freeing. It was like, what in the world? And I really cried out because it was like, you kept me. You saw me. You were chasing after me, and you would not let me stay in a place, but you brought me closer to you, and the compassion that you had for me, the forgiveness, in the midst of it. While I thought I knew what I was doing, I thought I was, walking with him or in all of that. Just the loving kindness, it just really blew my mind. But it was, I'm going to say this. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say this. And all that I learned in that process about what we have been taught and what we've been, I'm going to use the word program.
That's a good term.
Okay. In all of that, to then go back to the word and know that he said that Satan was the deceiver of the whole world. To know that Satan uses everything and will try to mimic God in order to deceive us. So for me, and what I saw was, oh my gosh, how many religions do we have out here? How many churches, how many, I don't know, people just different ministries or whatever, this whole dividing of the word, division of just people and all of that in concerning church or religion. If that is not, oh my gosh, true deception that will pull and that has been pulling individuals away from the truth of who God is. Oh, my. That just blew my mind when he's trying to shut me down. It's all good. And I understand his tricks and but that is the journey. That really was my when my faith just grew even more so. And I have been on a journey of knowing him more, wanting to know him more, and really studying who he is. There's so much that, I did have to unlearn. He ain't complicated. He is not complicated at all.
Not at all. But we make things complicated.
Yes.
We do. We definitely do. I mean, we have the word. We just have to follow it, and allow the Holy Spirit to lead us. That's the biggest part. That's what the Holy Spirit's there for, to guide us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, I definitely, I think that you and I share a very similar story, and I shared this in one of my previous podcasts that, I don't want to say that I used the pandemic as an out, but the pandemic allowed an exit for me. And I was a little nervous because I kept thinking, I don't want to go against God. I don't want to, I was more afraid that I was doing something wrong because I've been in church my entire life. And when I tell my friends that, I don't go to church anymore, they're like, what? their face go. I always wait for the reaction because it's surprising, shocking when I say that to people, whatever, because they know how much that I would always be in church. I would volunteer and stuff. But I didn't deviate from God. I just kind of just exited the building, that part of it, because there's just some things that I didn't agree with. And as I was going on my healing journey, there was just some things that I needed to separate from as I continued to heal. And I didn't feel like I was in position to serve others or help people when I was hurting myself. And I was feeling some of that hurt from church. And so it was just time for me to move forward or whatever. And there were some things that I needed to dismantle and allow God to build back up for me or rebuild. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's just an adjustment. And I feel like now that my relationship with God has grown a lot more, my faith and trust in God has definitely grown.
Right.
And so I feel like I'm on the right journey, and I know that God is with me. And if I get back to a place where I'm sure that I'll be back in fellowship or with church or, somewhere. And so when that time comes, where the Holy Spirit leads me, that's where I'll go. But as far as right now, I'm just staying in the Word and watching different services online. I feel like I always find the right word for the season that I'm in. So
Yes. And sis, look, we having church.
Yeah.
I mean, you walking in your purpose, you saying, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? You hearing and intentionally moving on his behalf in the earth. You are being exactly who you were created to be. We are the church, right? Yeah. So it's not that we have to go to a particular, building, all of that. We know that, but we go where he tells us to, and share what he tells us to share, when we're supposed to do it, and all of that. The encouraging, we are building the kingdom right where we are. And, oh my gosh, yes. So I totally, just understand that whole process about, church and religiousness, and going back into the truth, going back to the Bible. Before, I'll say in the beginning, it was just us and the Most High. Anyway, there was no religion, there were no other religions. And those things were created by man and is still on. So it is really about our relationship with him. It is, and as we move in that, the Holy Spirit speaks, to us. So yeah. Just be in a relationship with him, and we'll be exactly where we're supposed to be, doing exactly what we're supposed to do.
I agree. I feel like God led me to do this podcast for a reason, and I just pray that it helps people and continue to help people. And if God decides to grow into something that's larger, then so be it. But as far as right now, I feel like I'm serving in the same capacity that I did that I was in church, and hopefully that I bring a word or have some type of light that will shine upon people and help to brighten them as they continue to move, or brighten their day as they continue to move into their purpose. I just hope that I give them whatever it is that God wants me to give them, not what I want to give them, but whatever God wants me to give them.
These conversations are healing,
Absolutely. I agree.
Healing. And it is definitely needed. So you doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you keep on doing the daggone thing.
And you as well.
I know for Big Hug. Thank you. I know for Big Hug Lady, he nudged me to do that. I wasn't trying to be, he knows me. I don't want to be in front. I don't want to, especially when he called me into the ministry, I was like, clearly you have the wrong Sonya, because I ain't getting out of nobody. It's saying nothing. Right. But even in that, he's just taken me on a journey to build me up and encourage me, and to let me know that I do have the thing that he has placed in me, and it's okay. And it reminds me of the story of Jeremiah. He will never, I read that like so many times, but this one time, when he revealed to me this, I'm a visual person, right? So, we went down that journey, with Jeremiah and God. And when God was, telling him, before he even gave Jeremiah the assignment, he said, I knew you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew you. Like, I know who you are. I created you,
right.
Before you were even in your mother's womb.
Yes.
So, he was building Jeremiah up before he gave him his assignment.
Yeah.
And then when he shared with Jeremiah that he needed him to speak on, his behalf, speak to the people who weren't even trying to hear what Jeremiah had to say. And Jeremiah's like, I ain't gonna be able to do that.
That's a tough crowd there.
Right, exactly. And what he showed me was him like putting his arm around Jeremiah, like, come on, let's take a walk. Okay, Jeremiah, what do you see? And then Jeremiah says, I see an almond tree, blah, 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 blah. He's like, you're right. Then he said, all right, Jeremiah, now what do you see? And Jeremiah says that. He's like, you're right. And all he was doing was increasing his courage. He was building him up, letting him know, look, see, we're right here. You got me. You understand. You're telling me exactly what I see, or, what is there. You can do this. And then to have him go even further to say, and don't be afraid of their faces. Don't be afraid about, what they're looking like when you say what I'm asking you to say. Don't back up, because you back up, you keep quiet, then you and I gonna deal with. And so I love the story of Jeremiah and how God just encourages us and builds our courage to help us see that, we can do exactly the thing that he has already placed in us to do.
Yes.
Whatever it is, all we have to do is call on him, that he has given us the words. As he told Jeremiah, I put the words in your mouth. So you don't even have to worry about what to say. I've already what to say, what to do. So all you have to do is just say yes. And that's a process. It is a process, but indeed.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I think another thing is that people should realize is even though when we say yes to God, the process is still not going to be as easy. It's still going to require testing, because God's going to have to prune us and get us to a certain place in our life to help us to establish faith and help us to become planted in him and in the word. And so even when we say yes, it doesn't exempt us from things happening in our life. It just allows us to trust God, that he would perform and keep his promise to us. Because a lot of times people see the yes and don't know what that process looks like. And so that's tough. And we want to make sure, just because sometimes, a lot of times when people become Christian or give their life to Christ, they think that that's it, but no one ever talks about what that process is going to look like. And a lot of times people turn back because it becomes very hard, it's challenging or whatever, but you have to stay the course and grow in Christ and allow God to do whatever it is that he needs to do in your life or get whatever out of you that he needs to get from you.
Yeah, definitely. And her segment, right, or segue into the place that he nudged me into, and that was a life coach. And that was something I never, looked to being. But he had me to see, girl, you've been doing this like forever. I can look back at, I've had conversations with individuals that I know, even from high school, when we were in elementary school or middle school. And it's like, you've always been that person that we went to ask for, advice or whatever.
Yeah.
But you were that person. And so, he had to show me, you have been doing this. So going into a certification to learn how to help guide people, not give them the answer, but help guide them to the answer. The program that he created was Embrace Purpose, right? It was like, oh, well, that's still a big hug, right?
Yeah.
And then part of that is to help others, because I had to first be helped myself, and he had to. So it's this very program is what and how he guided me was to know that there is a process to embrace purpose. Like, yeah, you have a purpose, but it's not easy it's not going to be just given to us. It's not just going to, there's a journey in getting to a revealing of what our purpose is. Because we have to dig deep, go inward, and peel back some layers of our stuff in order to get to that place of seeing what it is. We have to get to some truths, to embrace some truths about who we are, and even, just that acceptance of our flaws and our hurts, and releasing some of that stuff so that he could get to us, get to that place of healing. And it is when we take on that journey and when we be courageous enough to face our hurts and face our traumas and face, all of that, it is then that he begins that place of revealing. And when he does that, we're then in a position to be able to help others. The journey that I was on, he showed me that, okay, I said I was a visual person, right? So walking in purpose, walking on the journey with him in relationship. And it reminded me of, the Billie Jean video, Michael Jackson is Billie. And as he walked, right, it was like the block, lit up. But it's like, it's not, oh, the block lit up and he knew to step there. Or it was as if they simultaneously, it took place. And that's how it is in just walking in purpose, or embracing that place, embracing the emotional turmoil that we're going to go through, embracing those traumas to get to that place of figuring out, like, why do I act like that? Or why do I act out? Why am I fearful of this or that? but asking those questions of why. And as we just continue to do that, oh my gosh, he just blows our mind. And I've also been taking some classes with a trauma psychiatrist to learn more about our brain. Oh my gosh, I'm blown away about the creator and what he has manifested in this body of ours, but that the way our brain is set up, it is to help, it is to protect, but it's also, what it will also do is keep us in a place of fear. And it will create emotions, within us that will cause us my purpose so that I can help other individuals along their journey so that they can embrace him.
Absolutely. It's been so good. Just being able to catch up and to be able to openly share, what purpose looks like, and what purpose looks like, and just going through that whole process and the journey that God places us on when we give him that yes. It's not easy, not at all. There's going to be a price that we pay.
Right. And
we just have to stay the course and continue to trust in God and knowing that to do what he promised that he would do, that he would always have our back. And I hope that everyone that's listening are able to take away something from this. That's the most important part. It's the reason why we have these conversations, so that people can know that they're not alone in their journey, and that there's other people that's right up here, and that we're cheering them on as well too. So I do thank you for coming on. And is there anything else, any last words that you would like to share before we close out?
Don't turn away. Don't quit. Don't stop. Don't. Just keep going, keep pressing toward him, keep chasing him. And oh my gosh, you're going to find him. Keep knocking, bang on that door for answers.
Yes.
Because he's going to let you find him. He is going to answer you. Yes. And that is what my hope is for everyone. And to know, as we said before, there is a process to embracing your purpose. There is a process to getting there. And it is not outward. Your purpose is in you. He has already given you everything that you need to walk in that thing and light up your corner of the world and do the daggone thing, and it's going to be super duper gorgeous and all of, but it's already in you. You don't have to go and ask nobody, search for nothing, blah, blah, blah. Even in, like I said, my as I consult other individuals, I'm not telling anybody who or what they are supposed to be doing or what their purpose is. I just help them with their why and help guide them to that purpose. So if you are searching, and if you are want a little help, in that manner, I can definitely help you on that process to embrace purpose. With the big hug lady, Sonya Lewis.
Also tell them how they can find you.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So go to biggesthugever.com. Oh my, that's my website, biggesthugever.com. And there you will find out everything, my whole journey, how I got to this place. You will find out about the one of the other projects that I'm working on, and that is Big Hug Conversations, where I have these grand conversations with individuals that have ranged from a great grandmother, community activist to I've had, oh my gosh, Grammy award winner entertainers and the world's only trauma psychiatrist. Oh my gosh, just awesome people and just individuals like yourself, ma'am. You'll find your interview on there as well. But just everything that I am working on, and you'll also find those links to my YouTube channel, which is The Big Hug Lady YouTube channel, and on Facebook, and then Instagram, it is The Big Hug Lady. So yeah, that's how you can reach out to me, and I'm so excited for you. Oh my goodness, whoever you are hearing all of this, and I know this was for you, and I'm excited about your journey. I am excited about your yes that you are giving, to God. And wow, I would love to hear about it as well. So don't hesitate to send me an email or reach out through social media or web site to just tell me about your journey.
I do appreciate you, being open and sharing your story and your move from the U.S. to Germany. So yeah, and I think that that's so big, because I know that people are going to see or hear that story, and they're going to be like, it's going to give them encouragement, motivation to keep pressing forward, especially those that are afraid or just waiting for that confirmation. There you have it. There it is right there. You see that God is moving in her life, and you move when you heard from God. And I know that it's really hard to give up the things that you have created over the years, and the expectations or that you placed on yourself, that dream that you had for your life, but you gave up you released from your hands so that you can receive from God's hand. And so that right there is that's the change right there. That's the biggest part of it, because what God has for you is way greater than what you give it to him. That little that you gave him, and watch how big what he gives you back in return. So right. Look, last thing. Oh my gosh. The yes, right. So you said that little bit that I gave to him. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you. So he took Big Hug Lady. He took it and made it international. Yes. Oh. And it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen, mm-hmm. right? The coaching and consulting and stuff, I thought it was going to happen that way. But it was a move mm-hmm. of the yes that placed me over here to be able to move through, mm-hmm. this a different country. Yep. That now created an international status. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of times we think we're just going to reach people in a certain way. God's like, no, I'm going to place you there. That was huge. That kind of stuff right there just blows my mind. Mm-hmm. I love that. That was great. That was a great closing. That was really big for people to be able to see that give and releasing from, like, God just shifted you. Like, you're like, oh, my business is going to be international. And God's like, no, you're going to be international. I'm going to move you to a different country. That's amazing. Now that's the hope that people are going to be looking for right there. Because that's mind blowing. That's something that they would have never imagined. Well, I want to say thank you again for sharing and giving that awesome testimony, because that last one, that was very powerful, and I'm glad that you released that word into this podcast, because that, seeing what God is doing in your life and seeing how you never expected for God to make that shift happen the way that you thought it would be. You were thinking that, okay, I want to be my company to go international, I want to go global, and here God said, I'm going to shift you. And so that right there is mind blowing, and that's definitely That's definitely going to give someone else hope for their future and for their purpose. So to not limit God, what God could do, because sometimes we won't see it, but all we have to do is believe in that God will blow our mind. So thank you again.
This episode is sponsored by the Twindle Foundation. The Twindle Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to changing the wealth gap of African Americans and minorities by increasing homeownership. Did you know that 44% of Black families own their home compared to 73% of white families? A barrier to minority homeownership is student loan debt. Through scholarship, the Twindle Foundation is providing minority students with an opportunity to take on less financial debt. To give to the Twindle Foundation, visit www.twindlefoundation.org.